Or if you may please switch on your videos. I want to see your faces. Punya.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Okay. Okay. What you have discussed in the last class? What we were discussing in the last class? Yes.
Methods of charging a body.
Yes. Methods of charging. Methods of charging a body. Okay. What are the different methods of charging?
Charging by friction, charging by induction,
Yes.
charging by
Yes. Charging by friction, charging by induction, and charging by conduction. Okay. Good. Then Anthony, what do you mean by charging by friction?
Rubbing a surface of body on the other body.
Yes, rubbing one body on the surface of another body. That method of charging is known as charging by friction. Can you say any one example?
Glass rod
Yes, rubbing of glass rod on
on silk cloth.
silk cloth. After rubbing the glass rod on silk, what charge is obtained by the glass rod?
Positive
Positive charge. Why the glass rod is obtaining the positive charge?
because these the electrons are loosely bounded.
Yes, on the surface of the glass rod, there are some loosely bounded electrons are present. All right. Good, very good, Anthony. Then Punya, what about the second method of charging?
Charging by induction.
Very good, charging by induction. What do you mean by charging by induction?
An uncharged body is kept near a charged body to get it.
Yes, when a uncharged body is kept near a charged body, the charges are get transformed from a charged body to an uncharged body. That is what is we are discussing in the last class. Then what about the third method of charging? What is the third method of charging? Gauri?
charging by conduction.
Yes, it is charging by conduction. Charging by conduction. This is the third method of charging. Charging by conduction. So in this charging by conduction, what we are doing here that, first of all, we are placing an uncharged body. First we place an uncharged body and kept a charged body in contact with this uncharged body. For example, I am considering a glass rod that is positively charged glass rod. That positively charged glass rod is kept in contact. That is, they are not kept nearby. They are not neighbors. They are kept in contact with each other. So a positively charged glass rod is kept in contact with an uncharged body. After some times, what happened? This positive charge is get transferred from this glass rod to the uncharged body. So it becomes positive. So here both the bodies are attains the same charge. That means if we want to charge the body with the same charge, we are keeping the uncharged body in contact with the charged body. So this method of charging is known as charging by conduction. So what do you mean by charging by conduction? The charging by the actual contact, the charging a body with actual contact of another body. Okay, here the actual contact is there. So charging a body by the actual contact of another body, this method of charging is known as charging by conduction. It is very similar than that of charging by induction. Okay. Did you remember the induction method of charging? In the method of induction, we are kept the charged body and the uncharged body nearby. But here in charging by conduction, it is a method of contact. Through the method of contact, we are charging an uncharged body. Okay. So here the charging a body by kept it contact with a charged body or another body. That method of charging is known as charging by conduction. Is it is clear? So what are the three methods of charging? What are the three methods of charging that we are discussing here? What are the three methods? Anthony, not sorry, Anthony, Achyut. What are the three methods of charging?
Ma'am, friction,
Yes, charging by friction,
induction,
charging by induction,
and charge by contact.
charge by contact, and the charge by contact is named by that method is known as
Conduction.
charge by conduction. Okay, very good. Then Ashwin,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you mean by charging by conduction? What do you mean by charging by conduction? Yes,
Ma'am, keeping a body in direct contact.
keeping a body in direct contact
Contact
with
of a charged body.
yes, keeping a body in direct contact with another body. That method of charging is known as charging by conduction. All right. Is there any doubt? So these are the three methods of charging. One is charging by friction. The second method is charging by induction. And the third method is charging by conduction. So in charging by friction, what is actually happens? The rubbing of one body on the surface of another body. That method of charging is known as charging by friction. Charging by induction, we are kept a neutral body near an charged body. So the charges are get transferred from a charged body to a neutral body. The third method of charging is known as charging by conduction. What do you mean by charging by conduction? Here there are direct contact made between the charged body and uncharged body. As a result of this, the charges are get transferred. So the charge by contact, this method of charge is known as charging by conduction. Is this topic is clear? Is it is clear for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss the one more topic, that is electroscope. Have you heard about this device, electroscope? Actually, this electroscope is a simple device. It is used to detect the presence of charge. So what do you mean by electroscope? Electroscope is a simple device. It is used to detect the presence of charge. We know that, have you heard about ammeter? What do you mean by ammeter? Nandana?
It detects the presence of electric current.
Yes, very good. It is not detect, it is measure. So ammeter is a device that is used to measure the value of current. Similarly, we are using the voltmeter. For what purpose? Voltmeter is used for measuring. Voltmeter is used for measuring potential or voltage. So voltmeter is used to measure the potential or voltage. And have you heard about galvanometer? What is the function of galvanometer? Sania, can you recall? Galvanometer is a device which detects the presence of current in a circuit. So galvanometer is a device which detects the presence of current in a circuit. So likewise, the electroscope is a simple device which detects the presence of charge. To detect the presence of charge. So this simple device is known as electroscope. And this is the structure of electroscope. It consisting of a metal rod, consisting of a vertical metal rod. At the end of this vertical metal rod, two golden leaves are attached. Two golden leaves are attached. This is the metal leaves. And then a metal ball is at the top of the metal rod. So this is the part of an electroscope. So what are the different parts of an electroscope? It consisting of a metal rod. It is housed vertically in a glass bottle. At the end of this metal rod, two golden leaves are attached. Two golden leaves are attached at the end of this metal rod. Okay. So since this is a golden leaf, this electroscope is also known as golden leaf electroscope. Golden leaf electroscope. Golden leaf electroscope. But simply we are calling it as a electroscope. So what do you mean by electroscope? Electroscope is a device which is used to detect the presence of charge in a material body. Okay. So what are the main parts of an electroscope? It consisting of a metal ball, a metal rod, and metal leaves. So these are the parts of an electroscope. And what is the structure of electroscope? A metal rod is housed vertically inside a glass bottle. And at the end of the metal rod, you can find two golden leaves, or it is denoted as metal leaves. Okay. So since we are using the golden leaves at the end of the metal rod, we can call this electroscope as golden leaf electroscope. Simply we can call it as electroscope. So what do you mean by electroscope? Aditya, what do you mean by electroscope?
Ma'am, it is a device which
Yes.
is used to detect the presence of charge.
It is a device that is used to detect the presence of charge. Sharon, what are the major parts of an electroscope?
A metal ball, a
Yes.
metal rod, and a metal leaves.
Metal ball, metal rod, and metal leaves are the important parts of the electroscope. Okay. Now we can explain what is the how this electroscope is function, the function of electroscope. So actually its function, we are kept the body, if we are kept a charged body on the top of the knob, that is the metal ball at the top of the rod. If this body is consisting of charge, then our leaves are getting diverged. So the amount of divergence or the amount of charge that is present in the body can be identified with the help of degree of divergence. So this is the working of electroscope. So I will explain it once again. Here, a charged body is kept on the top of the metal ball, which is present at the top of the rod. If this body is consist of charge, what happens? This charge is flows through this metal rod. The charge is flows through this metal rod. As a result of the presence of this charge, our golden leaves are get diverges. It is diverges. Now in the first figure, you can see this is converged. The two golden leaves are in a converged state. But due to the presence of a charged body, what happens? This charge is detected by this metal ball on the top of the rod, and this charge are flows through the metal rod, and due to this presence of the charge, our golden leaves are get diverged. So the degree of divergence of this metal leaves is indicate the presence or the amount of charge in the body. Is it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is electroscope? Krishna, what do you mean by electroscope?
A device that allows test whether an object is charged or not.
Yes, electroscope is a device that is detect the presence of the charge in a material body. Okay, good. Then Nidhi, can you explain the structure of electroscope? What is the structure of electroscope?
Contains three parts:
Yes, what are they?
metal rod, metal ball, and
Metal ball, metal rod, and at the
metal
end
leaves.
of the metal rod, yes, it is metal leaves. And what about its structure? Okay, Gayatri, what about its structure? What is the structure of electroscope? Gayatri? Okay, I will explain once again the structure of electroscope. It consisting of a metal rod that is housed vertically inside a glass bottle. So it consisting of a metal rod that is housed vertically inside a glass bottle. At the end of the metal rod, two golden leaves are attached. At the end of the metal rod, two golden leaves are attached. And there is a metal ball or knob is present at the top of the metal rod. So this is the structure of electroscope. It consisting of a metal rod that is housed vertically inside a glass bottle. This is the glass bottle. Okay. So there is a metal rod is housed vertically inside a glass bottle. At the end of this metal rod, two golden leaves are attached, and at the top of the metal rod is containing a metal ball or metal knob. This is the structure of what? Structure of electroscope. Now, Adul, what about the working of this electroscope? How this electroscope is works?
Ma'am, when a charged body is brought near to the metal ball, then the
Yes.
gold leaves will diverge.
Yes, then the charge is flowing through the metal rod. As a result of or the presence of these charges, the golden leaves are get diverged. And the degree of divergence of these golden leaves is determine the amount of charge present in this charged body. Okay, is it is clear for you? Clear? Say at least yes or
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can we move to the next topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the next topic is very important, and this is known as next topic is Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law. The next topic is Coulomb's law. So in order to explain this Coulomb's law, we can consider two charges. Consider two charges, Q1 and Q2. Consider two charges, Q1 and Q2. These two charges are separated by a distance R. So in order to explain the Coulomb's law, we are considering two charges, Q1 and Q2. They are separated by a distance R. Suppose if Q1 is contains positive charge and Q2 is also contain positive charge, which type of force is present between these two charges? Is it is force of attraction or force of repulsion?
Repulsion.
Yes, there is a force of repulsion is between. Similarly, the Q1 is contains a negative charge and Q2 is contains a negative charge. Then what is the force is experienced by these two charges? Is it is force of attraction or force of repulsion?
Repulsion.
Again, the force of repulsion is takes place because we are already studied that the like charges are repulse each other. Now I placed in Q1 I placed a positive charge. In Q2 I placed a negative charge. Then what happens? What is the force is present between the Q1 and Q2? Which type of force is present between Q1 and Q2?
Attraction.
Yes, it is a force of attraction. Very good, very good. So in order to explain the Coulomb's law, we are considering the two charges, Q1 and Q2. It is separated by a distance R. If the two charges are contains the same charge, they are repulse each other. The force is present between these two charges is a force of repulsion. If the two charges are contains the opposite charges, that is if Q1 is contain positive, Q2 contain negative charge, then the force present between these two charges are force of attraction. Then Coulomb states that the force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges, the force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to the product of this magnitude of the charges Q1 and Q2. So the force of attraction or
No.
repulsion between S,
Can you tell the definition, ma'am?
yes,
The law.
we are not stating the law. After this, we can state the law
Okay.
by step. So according to Coulomb's law, he made the first statement. The force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges. The force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges. That is F proportional to Q1 into Q2. Okay, this is the first statement made by the Coulomb. What is the first statement? The force of attraction or repulsion between the two charges is directly proportional. What do you mean by directly proportional? If one quantity increases, other quantities automatically increases. So the force of attraction or repulsion between the charge Q1 and Q2 is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of charge. That is, F is proportional to Q1 into Q2. Now, he made the second statement. The force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges is inversely proportional to. It is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. What is the distance between these two charges? These two charges are separated by a distance R.
R.
So Coulomb's second statement is that the force of attraction or repulsion between these two charges is inversely, sorry, I made a mistake here. F is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Okay, so this is second statement made by the Coulomb. What is the first statement made by the Coulomb? The force of attraction or repulsion
between these two charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of charge.
Okay, what is the second statement made by the Coulomb?
Force of attraction or repulsion between the
The two charges.
distance. Yeah, the two charges is inversely
It's not
proportional.
directly. It is
Inversely
inversely proportional
proportional.
to the square of the distance. It is
Yeah.
inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. So these are the two statements that is made by the Coulomb. Now when we are looking to this two equation, what is the first equation here? F is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2. What is the second equation? F is inversely proportional to 1 by R square. All of you may please switch on your videos. I can see your faces. So what about the LHS of this equation? Equation 1 and equation 2. What is the LHS? Left hand side of the equation. What
Force.
term is present? Force. In equation 1 and equation 2, both the force are present. So we can combine these two equations together. We can combine these equations together. Then it becomes, how it becomes? You just combine this two equation. What do you get? Yes. By combining equation 1 and 2, we get F is proportional to Q1, Q2 divided by R square. F is proportional to Q1, Q2 by R square. So, according to Coulomb's law, the first statement, the force of attraction or repulsion between the charges is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the charges, and it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So here there is a proportionality sign. So we want to replace this proportionality sign by introducing a constant. So the equation is become F is equal to, we are replacing this proportionality sign by introducing a constant. That constant is K. F is equal to K into Q1, Q2 divided by R square. F is equal to K into Q1, Q2 divided by R square. What is K?
Constant.
Yes, very good. K is a constant. And what is Q1 and Q2? Yes. Srihari, what is Q1 and Q2?
Magnitude of both charges.
Yes, these are the two charges. And what about R? Aryan?
Distance between.
It is the distance between the two charges. So in order to replace the proportionality sign, we are introducing a constant. That constant is K. So F is equal to K into Q1, Q2 divided by R square. And this constant K has an equation. This constant K is equal to, this constant K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. What is the value of K? K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. This is, I think, it's a new term, right? Have you heard about this term epsilon 0 before? Yes or no at least?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Then what is epsilon 0? Epsilon 0 is known as the permittivity. What is epsilon 0? It is the permittivity of free space. What is epsilon 0? Epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. Epsilon 0. So K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, where epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. And this epsilon 0 has a value. Epsilon 0 is equal to, epsilon 0 is equal to 8.85 into 10 raised to negative 12, 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. This is the value of epsilon 0.
Ma'am,
Yes?
what is the meaning of permittivity of free space?
Okay. Permittivity means it is the capability. It is the capability of a free space to, or it is the capability of the free space or vacuum to permit the electric field. Electric field, we are discuss it later. So it is the capability, or it is the ability. It is the ability of the free space or vacuum to permit the electric field. Okay, that is what is known as permittivity. Permittivity is the ability. It is the ability of the free space. So we are considering two charges Q1 and Q2. They are separating by a distance R. We are placing these two charges Q1 and Q2 in a free space. Okay. So this free space or this vacuum is able to permit, they are able to permit the electric field. That is what is known as the epsilon 0. It is the permittivity of the free space. And its value is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So what happens to your equation?
Ma'am,
Yes.
free space or vacuum to allow?
Yes, these both are same, free space or vacuum. Yeah, it's allowed. So, okay, you want the definition for permittivity?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Permittivity is the capability of free space or vacuum. Permittivity is the capability of free space or vacuum to permit the electric field. To permit the electric field. That is what is known as permittivity. And epsilon 0 is representing the permittivity of the free space. Okay, it is the permittivity of the free space. Then what happens to our equation? F is equal to, instead of k, we can substitute the value of k here. What is that? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 divided by r square. F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square, where epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space, q1 and q2 are the charges, and r is the distance between the charges. And we are already studying what is the value of epsilon 0. What is the value of epsilon 0?
8.85 into 10
Into?
raised to minus 12.
Yes. Then the equation is becomes 1 by 4 pi into 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 into q1 q2 divided by r square. By solving this, we get, by substituting the value of epsilon 0, what is the value of pi? 3.14 or 22 by, yes, 3.14 or 22 by 7, it's a constant value. So we get the value of k is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. By substituting all the values, we get 9 into 10 raised to 9. 9 into 10 raised to 9. This is the value of k. By substituting all these value, by substituting the value of pi and the value of epsilon 0, the k is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9. Okay, then what happens to our final equation for Coulomb's law? F is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 q1 q2 divided by r square. F is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 q1 q2 divided by r square. And this is the equation for Coulomb's law. This is the equation for Coulomb's law. Now we are going to state what is Coulomb's law. Okay. What is the first statement made by the Coulomb? I think this slide is not clear. Okay. So what is the first statement made by the Coulomb? Yes, Srihari. The Coulomb's law state that
Force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the magnitude of charges.
And what is the second statement? Rijas, what is the second statement made by Coulomb?
Force of attraction between the charges inversely proportional to the square of distance.
Square of distance between the charge. So the Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion, between the two charges, is directly proportional to the product of the charges. The force of attraction or repulsion between the two charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges. Directly proportional to the product of the charges. One more term you mean to indicate that you just include product of the magnitude of the charges. Product of the magnitude of the charges. product of the magnitude of the charges. And it is inversely proportional to what? And it is inversely proportional to and it is inversely proportional to it is inversely proportional to what? Square of the distance between them. Yes, it is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Square of the distance between them. Okay. This is what is known as the Coulomb's law. Okay. So can anyone state the Coulomb's law? Punya? Can you state Coulomb's law? Yes.
Charges directly proportional to the magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance.
Okay, very good. Malaviga, what is the equation which is representing the Coulomb's law?
E equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 Q1 Q2 by R square.
Yes. F is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Okay, this is the equation representing the Coulomb's law. You may also write F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Okay, and what is epsilon 0 here? What is epsilon 0? Naureen, what is epsilon 0? Please switch on your video. Naureen.
Permittivity of free space.
Yes, epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. Okay, Vidur, what is the value of permittivity? What is the value of permittivity of free space epsilon 0?
8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12.
Yes, epsilon 0 is equal to 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12. You may also study its unit. Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay. So we can just recall the topics that we are discussing today. So today we are discussing about the methods of charging. What are the three methods of charging? Mikhail, what are the three methods of charging? With Michelle? What are the three methods of charging? Yes. Charging by friction.
Charge by induction, charge by contact, and charge by friction.
Okay. Then Aditya, what do you mean by charging by friction?
Ma'am, rubbing of one surface to the another surface, thereby charge get transmitted.
Yes, charging of one body on the surface of another body, thereby the charges are get transferred. Okay, very good. Then Nia, what do you mean by charging by induction? Please switch on your video. What do you mean by charging by induction?
Process of charging a neutral body by placing it near a charged body.
Yeah, the process of charging a neutral body by placing it near a charged body is known as charging by induction. Okay, good. Rijas, what is the third method of charging? Rijas. I think Dia is ready to answer. Dia, what is the third method of charging?
Charging a body by keeping it in contact with other body.
Yes, charging made by the actual contact of a body on another body. The charges are get transferred. Okay. Then Adul, what do you mean by electroscope?
I mean, it's a device used to detect the presence of charge.
It is a device that is used to detect the presence of charge. Okay, very good. Srihari, what are the major parts of the electroscope?
Electric ball, electric rod, and leaves. Metal leaves.
Okay. Okay, very good. And then Sania, state Coulomb's law.
The force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them.
Okay. And then this next. Vidur, what is the equation for Coulomb's law?
F is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9
Yes.
into Q1 Q2 by R square.
Okay. And the equation in terms of the permittivity, Gauri? The equation of Coulomb's law in terms of permittivity of free space, F is equal to
1 by epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by
R square. Okay, all right. Have you any doubt? Do you have any doubt? Is it clear, all these topics? Please switch on your videos.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any doubt from this portion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, I conclude the today's session. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.